Japan's secrets against cancer. Imagine a developed, modern country with cities that look like they came straight from the future, filled with illuminated skyscrapers, cutting-edge technology, and a fast-paced rhythm of innovation. Now, at the same time, picture this very country preserving ancient traditions, simple eating rituals, and cultural practices that have survived almost unchanged for centuries. A place where modernity and tradition don't cancel each other out, but instead blend harmoniously. Now think about this. Despite being highly industrialized and exposed to the same urban pressures that increase the risk of chronic diseases in other parts of the world, this country records one of the lowest cancer rates among all developed nations. It may sound contradictory, but it's real. This country exists, and it's called Japan. Here is the most surprising part. It is not about mere genetic luck or biological coincidence. Researchers around the world have shown that the Japanese secret lies in their cultural and dietary habits, more than medical advances or strong public health programs. Although those certainly exist, it is their collective lifestyle that creates a natural shield against diseases such as cancer. While countries like the United States, Australia, and several European nations show alarming rates of colorectal, breast, and prostate cancer, often linked to Western diets rich in processed meats, sugars, and ultra-processed foods, Japan stands apart. There, the numbers are significantly lower. According to recent reports from IARC-WHO Globocan 2022, the Japanese not only live longer, but also face a lower risk of developing some of the most common cancers in the West. And so, the big question arises, what do the Japanese do differently? What cultural and dietary choices could explain such a striking contrast? Today, you're going to discover 15 practices from Japanese culture, backed by science, that significantly reduce cancer risk. Simple yet transformative habits you can adopt in your own daily life. 1. The principle of hara. Hachi-bu. Eat until 80% full. In Okinawa, one of the regions with the greatest longevity in the world, there's a saying that guides how people eat. Hara hachi-bu. It literally means, eat until you are 80% full. This simple habit prevents overeating, helps avoid obesity, and reduces metabolic stress, factors directly linked to cancer risk. Research from the U.S. National Institute on Aging shows that moderate caloric restriction activates protective cellular mechanisms and may lower chronic inflammation, one of the main drivers of cancer. In Japan, meals are neither rushed nor overly abundant. People leave the table before feeling completely full. This discipline protects against obesity, a condition the American Cancer Society has confirmed accounts for about 20% of cancer cases in Western countries. 2. Green tea as a cancer shield. It's hard to imagine a Japanese person who doesn't drink green tea daily. Whether at breakfast, during work breaks, or after meals, the infusion of Camellia sinensis leaves is ever present across the country. Science explains why. Green tea is rich in catechins, bioactive compounds that fight free radicals, inhibit tumor-induced angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels, and reduce inflammation. Studies published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology have linked regular green tea consumption to a lower risk of breast, prostate, and colon cancers. While the West leans heavily on sodas and sugary coffees, Japan relies on this ancient beverage that hydrates, boosts metabolism, and protects cellular DNA from mutations. 3. A diet based on fish and seaweed. Japan is an archipelago, and that has deeply shaped its cuisine. Unlike Western cultures that prioritize red and processed meats, the Japanese consume fish rich in omega-3s and seaweeds loaded with minerals and antioxidants every single day. Studies from the National Cancer Center Japan show that fish-rich diets are linked to lower rates of colorectal cancer. Seaweeds, such as nori, wakame, and kombu, provide fiber, iodine, and polysaccharides with immune-boosting effects. Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health further emphasizes that replacing processed meats with fresh fish is one of the most effective strategies against digestive tract cancers. On the Japanese plate, it's common to see fresh sashimi, seaweed soups, and small portions of rice, forming a balance that supports both metabolic and gut health. 4. The power of fermented soy. Another cornerstone of the Japanese diet is soy, but not in the ultra-processed form found in many Western products. They consume fermented soy in traditional preparations such as miso, natto, and artisanal tofu. These foods contain isoflavones and probiotics that regulate hormones, strengthen gut flora, and reduce inflammatory processes. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Cancer showed that Japanese women who regularly consume fermented soy have a lower risk of breast cancer. In addition, natto, famous for its strong smell, is extremely rich in vitamin K2, which supports cardiovascular and bone health, also helping prevent age-related diseases. 5. Brown rice and natural fiber. Although white rice is still common, many Japanese families alternate it with brown rice and other fiber-rich foods such as root vegetables, sweet potatoes, taro, radish, and seasonal greens. Fiber plays a crucial role in preventing colorectal cancer. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, reduces inflammation, and speeds up intestinal transit, decreasing the contact time of potential carcinogens with the intestinal lining. According to the World Cancer Research Fund, fiber-rich diets can reduce the risk of colon cancer by up to 20%. While fiber intake remains low in Western countries, in Japan, vegetables, seaweed, and brown rice are part of daily eating habits. 6. Low consumption of red and processed meats. Unlike the United States, where barbecue and processed meats are part of everyday life, the Japanese consume far less red meat and rarely include processed meats such as sausages and bacon in their traditional diet. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, has already classified processed meats as carcinogenic to humans, Group 1. Excessive red meat intake has also been linked to a higher risk of colorectal cancer. In Japan, animal protein mainly comes from fish, chicken, and small occasional portions of beef or pork, always accompanied by vegetables. This moderation reduces exposure to toxic compounds formed at high cooking temperatures and helps preserve intestinal health. 7. The ritual of slow and mindful eating. The West's hurry contrasts with the Japanese philosophy of eating slowly and mindfully. Meals are moments of connection, not just calorie intake. This habit reduces binge-eating episodes, improves digestion, and enhances satiety perception, reinforcing the principle of hara hachibu. Research from the University of Tokyo shows that eating quickly is associated with a higher risk of obesity and metabolic syndrome, both of which increase cancer risk. By chewing calmly, the Japanese not only extract more flavor from food, but also extend the pleasure of eating without overindulging. 8. Movement as a lifestyle. Unlike the Western mindset of compensating for a sedentary lifestyle with an hour at the gym, the Japanese integrate physical activity into their daily lives. They ride bicycles, walk long distances to work, take the stairs, and keep moving throughout the day. This pattern of light, frequent activity reduces obesity, improves insulin sensitivity, and protects against several types of cancer. The American Cancer Society highlights that physically active people have a 20 to 30% lower risk of breast and colon cancer. In Japan, it's not about exhausting workouts, it's about never letting the body stay idle. 9. Forest bathing, Shinrin-yoku. Walking through forests, a practice known as Shinrin-yoku, is recognized in Japan as a preventive health therapy. This immersion in nature not only reduces stress, but also strengthens the immune system. Research conducted by Nippon Medical School has shown that forest bathing increases the activity of NK, natural killer cells, which are responsible for destroying tumor cells. By inhaling the volatile compounds released by trees, phytoncides, the body reduces inflammation and enhances its defense against infections. It is nature itself as living medicine. 10. Low consumption of sugar and ultra-processed foods. While in the West fast food, sodas, and industrialized sweets dominate the table, the Japanese consume significantly lower amounts of sugar. Excess glucose not only contributes to obesity, but also fuels cancer cells, which rely on glucose fermentation to survive. The MD Anderson Cancer Center has already highlighted the link between high intake of refined sugars and increased risk of breast and colon cancer. In the traditional Japanese diet, sweets do exist, but in small portions, often prepared with rice, azuki beans, and fruits instead of refined sugar. 11. Respect for the circadian rhythm. The human body is governed by an internal biological clock, and the Japanese, in general, maintain greater respect for the natural cycle of sleep and wakefulness. Going to bed early and waking up with the sunrise, combined with regular routines, supports hormonal balance and reduces cancer risk. A study published in the International Journal of Cancer showed that night shift workers have a significantly higher risk of breast and prostate cancer, precisely due to disruptions in circadian rhythm and reduced melatonin production, a hormone with protective effects against tumors. In Japan, discipline with schedules and valuing rest help keep physiology aligned with what nature designed. 12. Low obesity rates as a protective factor. Japan is the developed country with the lowest obesity rate in the world. Less than 5% of the population is obese, compared to more than 40% in the United States. Obesity is now considered by the IARC to be one of the main risk factors for at least 13 types of cancer, including breast, liver, and esophageal cancer. By keeping body weight at healthy levels, the Japanese reduce systemic inflammation, insulin resistance, and hormonal overload. It is not just genetics, it's daily choices: smaller portions, more movement, fresh foods, and almost no exposure to excess empty calories. 13. Ikigai, life purpose as an antidote to stress. Perhaps the deepest secret is not only on the plate but in the mind and heart. The concept of ikigai, having a clear life purpose, something that gives meaning to everyday living, is seen as a central factor in Japanese longevity. Researchers at Tohoku University Graduate School of Medicine followed more than 43,000 Japanese people and found that those who reported having a strong sense of purpose had a lower risk of death from cardiovascular diseases and cancer. Chronic stress, common in Western societies, weakens immunity and promotes tumor growth. Ikigai acts as an antidote. Living for something greater strengthens both body and mind. 14. Seasonal and fresh vegetables. On the Japanese table, the season of the year defines the menu. This ensures a variety of phytochemicals, antioxidants, and vitamins. Carrots in winter, cucumbers in summer, raw vegetables in small portions, paired with natural pickles and light soups. This diversity provides compounds such as carotenoids, flavonoids, and sulforaphane, all associated with a reduced risk of cancer, according to studies published in the Journal of Nutrition. The principle is simple yet powerful. The more varied and colorful the plate, the broader the cellular protection. 15. Moderate alcohol consumption. Although sake is part of the culture, alcohol consumption in Japan is much more moderate than in the West. Social drinking in small doses is acceptable, but frequent intoxication is not culturally valued. The American Institute for Cancer Research warns that alcohol is a risk factor for at least 6 types of cancer, including liver, mouth, and breast cancer. The Japanese attitude of moderation significantly reduces this exposure. In addition, many women choose not to drink regularly, further strengthening protection at the population level. The philosophy behind the habits. What unites all these 15 habits is not just discipline, but a cultural vision of respect for the body and for nature. Japan teaches that health is not achieved through radical measures or miracle cures, but through small, consistent choices over a lifetime. Eat until satisfied, but never overly full. Value simple, fresh, seasonal foods. Keep the body in constant movement. Find a life purpose that gives meaning to each morning. This is the invisible formula that protects millions of Japanese people from diseases that devastate other developed nations. Now that you know in detail the 15 secrets of Japanese culture against cancer, one question becomes inevitable. Which of these habits do you already practice, and which could you start adopting today? Maybe you already drink green tea, or perhaps you prefer walking outdoors. But what about hara hachibu, the practice of stopping before you feel completely full? And what about adding more fiber, fresh vegetables, and fermented foods to your diet? Small choices can make a big difference over the years. What science shows us, and Japanese culture proves in practice, is that prevention does not begin in the hospital, but in our daily routines. It is in our meals, in how we deal with stress, in the respect we show to our bodies, and even in our sense of purpose that we lay the foundation for tomorrow's health. That's why you shouldn't wait for disease to knock at your door. Don't wait for a diagnosis to change. Every day is an opportunity to strengthen your body and shield your cells against silent threats. Transform your daily life into a natural shield of protection, inspired by one of the healthiest and longest living cultures on the planet. Japan did not reach this level by chance. Discipline, balance, and respect for the body are cultivated as cultural heritage. And this wisdom is within your reach as well. If this content made sense to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love, a friend, a family member, someone who may need this very information to rethink their habits. After all, every small change can save lives. And if you want to continue this journey of transformation, don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and get ready. In the next videos, we'll reveal more secrets of the Japanese lifestyle and how to apply them in your daily life, simply and practically, to gain more energy, longevity, and protection against disease. And remember, supporting our work means supporting the spread of knowledge that can impact thousands of lives. If you'd like to help, check the first pinned comment below to see how you can contribute. Your participation makes all the difference.